Okay, guys, what I want to talk about today is introduction to this quality course. And I want to share some experiences with you. I spent half my life in operations and half of that in quality management. And that's a difficult role to play, quality management. It's probably not the preferred career path if you're really interested in operations, because you're usually, and I say this, and I think it still holds today, you cap out. And that's fine, as maybe a general manager or VP of quality control, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But it's not usually the track to CEOs. Of course, who makes CEOs, okay? I went from foreman to vice president, couldn't crack that. I think that's a tough one for any. Some of you may get there. God bless you. I hope you do. But it's an honorable career, okay, to reach a general manager, VP, even a manager role, okay. But anyhow, enough career development, huh? I want to say some things about quality that you won't get in the textbook, okay. A couple things. Some of these things you'll hear, quality first. Don't believe it, okay? Quality is important, very important, and it can make or break you, but rarely is it first. And we're going to stop kidding ourselves on that, okay? It can be in certain situations if the business model supports that, but a lot of times you'll be working with companies where the model does not support that. So you have to be aware of that, okay? It can be also a dangerous path to take quality first. I came from LTV, second largest steel company in the world that went bankrupt in the 90s. We put quality first. So much so that we added so much quality that our customers didn't pay for it. I mean, they demanded the quality. This is typical of the automotive chain at the time. And we gave it to them, but they never reimbursed us for it. Eventually, we went bankrupt over that. We won the Toyota and Honda contracts in the United States. A big event, very proud moment in quality. But for every ton of steel we shipped, okay, we had to reject 3 tons. Obviously, we went bankrupt with that. And the point is, we should never take in that business. I mean, you got to know where you're at on quality, okay? And if you're not going to get paid for it, okay, you've got to be hesitant about throwing everything into quality. So that's that. Do it right the first time. Another thing you'll hear. Sounds so good, doesn't it? Do it right the first time. But in practice, we don't do it right the first time. And that's not even our own fault. A lot of times, management doesn't even know how to do it right. So we're all learning. So this idea, do it right the first time, if you know how to do it right and you're sure that works, that's great. But that's not usually the real world, okay? Thing I always say to all operations people, treat people right. That's the key to the whole thing, okay? That will move you up the ladder. It'll also bring you down the ladder if you don't treat people right. Believe me, on the way down, those people you stepped on, you'll know them well. Another thing, just an example, okay, of a real life difficult problem you'll run into. I was promoted, big company, LTV again, 10,000 people at the plant to manager of quality control. Okay, big promotion for me at the time. I was a young man. My boss called me in to tell me about the promotion. He said, I got good news and bad news. Here's the good news, you're promoted, and this is great. Was sort of like a dream for me coming from Pittsburgh and get that level in the steel industry. But he said, here's the bad news. And he pulled out a file. And it was a file that had names of my bosses beyond them, the vice president of quality and so forth, on it. And these were changed chemistries. In other words, these were chemistries on heats of steel that we had changed, okay? Now, it wasn't on critical stuff, but fairly critical, I would say. We changed to get them shipped. In other words, they should have been rejected, and maybe by a sleight of hand, you round off, the sulfur limit was 0.03, and you round it off to get 0.03 and so forth, and those type of things. So what was I to do? I mean, new job, I can't throw my career away. I had to start from then to make a decision. Okay, I can't do anything about the past, okay? But from now on, we're moving ahead. We're not gonna accept when the melt shop calls and says they got a high sulfur, can we pour it, as they would say, cast it in the steel. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna say, take the time to rework it. You can bring the sulfur level down from now on. And I even had to start there slow. I mean, these heats of steel, 9 a day, they're worth a couple million a bucket. So the bucket's hanging up there, ladle, as we would call it. And decisions got to be made, and I had to work with them because in the past they had been given, the ability to do it. Okay, and it gets back to the last point. Okay, on standards, slipping on standards. This gets back to golf. I'm a poor golfer, and I'll never be a good golfer. And you know why? I don't follow the rules strictly. The pros do. I play by summer rules, winter rules, whatever. I move the ball out from under the tree when I hit it there. And it's all friendly game, I guess. But you don't get any better doing that. You don't see the pros do that because you can't get better. You got to live with your errors. When you don't live with your errors, you take chances like I do. I might try to shoot over the trees, You saw the movie Tin Cup, maybe. I don't have to live with, okay, the end result the way a pro would. So it's the same thing with the sulfur example. You got the melt shop, they didn't do their job, and the sulfur was high. They didn't take the time to work the sulfur down in the steel, okay, and they were used to calling quality control and getting a waiver, okay, so they never got better. Okay, and it really was a matter of more time and working it down. So hopefully that gives you a little taste of the real world in quality. Because, again, quality control, it's in your heart, it's in your mind. You got to be passionate about it if you go into it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because you're going to run into those things. Okay,